Hi guys, welcome to the May Wine Club. We're looking at Bordeaux blends. So essentially grapes from Bordeaux, Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc. There's amongst others in Bordeaux, but they're really the three that we're looking at. They're vinified all over the world, so we're looking at three different expressions of Bordeaux blends. Two from France and one from Italy. So the first one we're looking at is Chateau Canon de Forêt, which is a Bordeaux Superior from the right bank of Bordeaux. So meaning it's going to be mainly Merlot driven. So
without further ado,
so 2018, quite a hot vintage. The fruits are going to be quite ripe. Bordeaux tends to see a little bit of time in oak, so you're looking at kind of 6 months in old oak. So pretty much equal parts Merlot Cabernet, and quite classic in style. So let's taste. So right off the bat, you're getting those kind of red fruits from the Merlots. I think kind of strawberries, cherries, but there's going to be kind of earthy undertones to it from the kind of 6 months in oak. Not imparting any kind of big oak flavors, but mellowing out the flavors of the grapes.
a little bit of black fruit there as well coming through from the Cabernet. Some kind of blackberry notes as well, which is quite classical and what you would expect as well.
And although quite a hot vintage, I feel like the winemakers pick these grapes just at the right time because it retains its freshness, its drinkability. It's not over extracted, it's not overly oaked, which I like from Bordeaux. So it's much fresher, approachable style of Bordeaux. And even though Bordeaux Superiors tend to have a little bit higher in alcohol, it's well masked, it's well hidden, and it's thoroughly well integrated as well.
Totally. Okie dokie.
So now moving on to the next wine, a very much different style of kind of a Bordeaux blend essentially. So mainly Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, and an indigenous grape called Robusto. So these guys are based in Veneto, two kind of young winemakers, studied under a very famous Italian winemaker called Menti, and they're kind of very much into biodynamics and organic farming and sustainable agriculture. So Veneto being in the northeast Italy, a little bit colder there, I think it's much kind of fresher style grapes.
That kind of really comes through as well. Like the fruit character tends to be on the fresher side, fresh red fruit.
Yeah, nice and ripe. There's going to be kind of smoky undertones to it as well. It's vibrant, it's fresh. Most of all, it's honest and genuine wine. These guys look after vineyards that the people who own the vineyards are too old to look after. So this is quite old school in some senses, but then it's fresh, and I think honesty is the main word here. And I could drink a lot of this. It's very
big contrast from the first one as well. Like there's a lot more power, I suppose, in the Bordeaux, and I think that's because of the warm vintage as well. Whereas again, you can see the reflection of the cooler climate, well, relatively speaking, in the Marco Barba, where it's just that fresher and I think, juicy and refreshing.
Delicious. And now moving on to the final wine. This is from Bouzet, which is very close to Bordeaux, and traditionally is where you would get kind of cheaper Bordeaux blends that weren't particularly exciting. But this producer, Domaine de Pec, is doing, I think, some of the most exciting wines from this region, if not the most exciting wine. So it's Merlot, Cab Sauv, Cab Franc. So vinified in much different styles. A lot of patience and time went into this. You'll see when you taste it, it's got this crazy purity of fruit. There's lovely kind of irony undertones to it. And it's spent a considerable time in kind of 200-year-old oak. So that's kind of unheard of for the region. So on the nose you get a lovely kind of tomato leaf, kind of smokiness to it as well, which I imagine is a kind of there's a kind of a yeast associated with kind of the spoiling of red wine called Brettanomyces. But when it's done right, it has these lovely kind of bacony, kind of mushroom undertones, and this is a perfect example of that done right.
Yeah, because there's certainly really lovely fruit intensity, but then you've got a little bit of savoury note going on as well, so it's makes the wine even more intriguing, I think.
These guys are completely biodynamic, use zero sulfites when they're bottling. So it's a risky business, but it's done right. You get a lot of energy to the wine, and when I first tried this wine a couple of years ago, it really floated my boat. It's one of those wines that kind of wakes you up, gives you energy. It's hard to sleep after drinking a bottle of this. You get nightmares, but it's delicious.
Good nightmares?
Yeah. And although it's 2015, still in its youth, has really nice aging potential. The acid's really good. The tannins are super well integrated, and has an excellent purity of fruit. So, yeah, there you have it. 3 very different styles of Bordeaux blends, and all have great typicity and great kind of terroir-driven styles. So, many thanks.
Kind regard.